It's the Philadelphia Eagles versus the Dallas Cowboys. I don't think there's anything else that has to be said with what this game means every single year. This is it. Final episode, final preview, final predictions, final thoughts on what is always arguably one of the most important games on the Eagles' schedule every year. We're live in 30 seconds taking your thoughts and predictions on Eagles, Cowboys on Sunday Night Football. We'll be right back. And a very good morning, everybody. And welcome to Trending in the AM right here on Philadelphia Sports Network. We're live, Facebook, YouTube, you know the drill. Hit that like, share, subscribe buttons wherever you're watching. It's free to do it, and it helps the show immensely grow on a daily basis. It helps the network grow on a daily basis as we're continuing to build something pretty special here at Philadelphia Sports Network on this YouTube page. Good morning, everybody. I am Phil Stiefel, your host. As always, at Beard and Knowledge on all social media platforms. You're more than welcome to give me a follow if you could find me on any platform. It would be under that handle. And good morning to everybody tuning in already this morning. Happy Dallas Birds Friday. Good morning, Peanut. How you doing today? Adam, good morning. How you doing? Let's beat Dallas. Eagles wreck. Man, Chatter, we've missed you this week. About time you're back in the conversation. Did you get locked up or something? See, you got your Dallas shirt on. Oh, my Oscar the Grouch. You're gonna call this this is my favorite Christmas shirt here. The Bah Humbug Oscar the Grouch shirt. I'm glad you noticed, Adam. I appreciate it. Yeah. I think that's Dak Prescott hiding in the trash can right there. Yeah, that's right. That's right. I said it. Anyway, I want to go back to this. It's Happy Dallas Birds Friday. And yeah, we're going to talk all about this Eagles versus Dallas matchup today. But I'm going to keep putting this comment up here and put it up to start the show. Because I don't know if anybody else, real quick, before we get into the X's and O's, before we talk the injuries, I got to say something about this Eagles Birds versus Dallas Cowboys game. It just doesn't have. I mean, I'm sure Sunday night, 8:15, right before kickoff, I'm going to feel different. But because of the ass whooping we took to the 49ers and the amount of time we've talked about digesting what happened last week, I kind of feel like I've slacked this week and not brought enough Dallas hate week to the conversation. I haven't talked Cowboys and what the Eagles-Cowboys rivalry means enough. I don't know if anyone else feels that way, but I kind of feel like we've been talking too much about the coordinators, the bad play of one game, so much, my power rankings, that pissed everybody off because I left the Eagles one in it. We've spent so much time looking back that we haven't looked forward enough, and I kind of took some of the juice out of this week. There's two Eagles-Cowboys weeks a year. Unless we play in the playoffs, which has happened. I've been podcasting since April of 2020. This is one of the 2 weeks every year I look the most forward to. Eagles, Cowboys. Spend the whole week talking about it. But I kind of feel like I haven't. I kind of feel like we've spent too much time on the past and not enough time on Eagles, Dallas. And I don't know if I'm the only one thinking that, but that's the way I feel right now. I kind of feel like some of the juice has been sucked out of me, and I'm trying to find ways to re-hype up before Sunday. They send me on to give the business. I don't know what that means. I could not believe when I checked the score. Yep, the Eagles did lose, man. Chatter. We're not going back to that 49ers game much today. You missed the week of complaining about it. It looks like Bosa leaked the blueprint for Dallas to follow, according to him. Yeah, that was the first of obvious, bulletin board material that was sent out yesterday or whenever. I saw it yesterday, Peanut. Um, Look, I don't think Bosa leaked anything. If anything, Lane Johnson kind of controlled him, you know, pretty well on Sunday against the 49ers. But I think the blueprint's been out for 3 years on how to beat Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts has just most of the time learned how to adjust and counter what defense is doing. What's all this then? What's all this is now? I think it's time to focus on Dallas. I think that's what we got to do. Let's focus on the Dallas Cowboys. How do we win on Sunday versus the Dallas Cowboys? Or has Eagles Nation? Because let me tell you something. This show has not jumped completely off the deep end on the Eagles for the most part. We've had a few people lose a little faith. But, for the most part, this show has stayed pretty level headed this week, talking about the 49ers loss. But Eagles Nation as a whole has jumped off a cliff. They've given up. Season's over. Pack it in. Pack it up. Pack it in. Let it begin. Phil is weighing poetic. I've never been called poetic a day in my life, Duck. I will tell you that. There is no way I am poetic in any sense of the form. If anything, that was my least favorite thing in English class was when we did poetry. I am not waxing poetic. Yeah. Phil don't want to go back. Well, Mad Chatter, we've been going back for 4 straight days. Not my fault you weren't here. I mean, your opinion matters. That's the tagline of the show. But honestly, we've been talking about the 49ers for 4 straight days. Phil don't even want to feel like he did that day. Well, we've been in our feelings, Mad Chatter, for literally an entire week. It's time to move on. And how do we move on? What do we do to stop the Dallas Cowboys? Some will say we got lucky beating the Dallas Cowboys a few weeks back. Feels like 8. Doesn't that last Cowboys game feel like ages ago? It's only been like 4 weeks? Let's see. It was 1, 2, 3. It was literally 4 games ago. But it feels like it was like a year ago. It feels ages ago to me. But there are some people that say we got lucky. If Dak doesn't step out, or if the ref calls this, or the ref calls that, we would have lost that game. Well, we didn't. We won. But that was not a pretty game. And that was a close call. It was the first of many close calls that this team has had over the last 4 weeks. How can we have a game where that does not happen? That's what I'm going to ask. Can you imagine being a Steelers fan? Holy food. Yeah, I actually, out of all the things, K1, you guys all know how much I hate Prime and having to pay for streaming services. I actually got somebody's login to put on Thursday Night Football last night. Not because of the game, just because I wanted it in my TV to watch something else, to finally sit down and watch the Kelsey game or show, which we'll watch this weekend, my wife and I. But I actually watched Thursday Night Football for the first time since the Eagles played on it, and it was on regular TV. Holy fook, as you say. I mean, obviously, Mac Jones isn't the real deal because Bailey Zappi came in with no wide receivers basically dressed and moved the ball at will in the first half. I only watched 20 minutes of the game, not much. But, man, can you imagine being 7-5 and being that bad? Talk about, I always say your record defines you as a team after a certain period of time. The Steelers are, 7-6? That record does not define that team. That team is so much worse than that record says it is. Sorry I missed yesterday's show. I slept in on my day off. Well, what's that? I don't even know. But I am pumped to see this team bounce back this weekend. I came to win. Battle me. It's a sin. There's some rhyming right there. There's some poetry right there from Peanut. I like it. I like it. And what's sleeping in on a day off? I get a day off and I still end up, waking. My body is so trained to get up at 6:30 for this 5 days a week. Saturday, I could sleep till about 8. I'm still up by 7. Sunday's normally my day off. I can sleep till 9 or 10. Normally, I wake up at 7 o'clock, 7:30 anyway. I'm just so used to it. I'm so pre-trained to wake up. It's 1 loss, Beard Bros. Still best record in the NFL. Hey, that's what we've been talking about all week. Eagles will beat Cal ladies. I hope so. We got to talk about how Bailey Zappi's season. Man, when Bailey Zappi is outperforming you that much, like he did Mac Jones with last night's performance, you got to look yourself in the mirror, Mac Jones. Like, something ain't right there. What is up? Good morning. Ewing 609, Jersey boy with that 609 area code there. Good morning. Go Birds. As of now, the injury report shows Cunningham and Julio are questionable. Yeah, Adam, we could definitely discuss the injury report. I'm not worried. Cunningham will play. He said flat out, "I will play. I will be dressing on Sunday." Julio Jones, I think that's just more of a you got to put a designation on the thing, and he's an older veteran and trying to. He's even if he didn't play, it ain't going to affect the outcome of the game probably. But I expect fully Zach Cunningham to play. And in the limited participant that he was in practice yesterday, when he was out there with Shaq Leonard. So let me tell you something. It's going to be Shaq Leonard and Zach Cunningham as your starting linebackers, rotating in Nicholas Morrow. Obviously, Christian Ellis is not going on our practice squad. As I said, it was the wrong person to cut. Not that Christian Ellis is good or anything like that, but he is a key part of our special teams. Cutting him because you thought he was going to make it back to the practice squad, a half a dozen teams put in waiver claims on him. He ended up signing or getting claimed by the Patriots. So we've lost Christian Ellis for the year now. But that's your linebacker core right there. You're going to see Shaq Leonard thrown into the fire Sunday against Dallas right away. If he plays less than 65, 70% of the snaps on defense, I would be shocked. I would put him probably in that 75, 80% range. Cunningham will get eased back in because you don't want to re-injure the hammy, and you're going to see Morrow kind of rotating in with Cunningham, but that's about it. We need to actually play our best in all three phases of football. That's how we win. We get our crap together as a team. And I think that's something interesting because Corey Nido, writer for Philadelphia Sports Network, phillysportsnetwork.com, did a piece yesterday on the chat on the website about how everybody keeps talking about how we haven't played a complete game yet. But maybe what we've seen is what this team is. They were never going to live up to the expectations or the standards set last year. This is a completely different team. And last year's standard was the type of season we had last year, it's what makes losing the Super Bowl so disappointing because it was like the perfect storm last year for the Eagles. Everything went right. Now, we are still winning despite everything not going right. But maybe we are just who we are. What the record says we are, what the stats say we are, a really strong offensive team, a defense that's struggling. Let's be honest. Our offense is top 10. Our defense is bottom 20. We are who we are. We have an identity. We're a team that bends, don't break. We're a team that fights till the last second. We're a team that's going to take your punches and not let it affect us. It might not be pretty, but we do what we do. Steelers, first team in NFL history with winning record to lose 2 straight to teams 8 games under 500. Wow. Let me repeat that just to let it sink in the right way, K1. Steelers are the first team in NFL history with a winning record to lose 2 straight games to teams 8 games under. That's not good. Did Phil overreact? Phil always overreacts. That's what you say. I'm always overreacting. Phil was worried you'd enter witness protection. I really thought Mad Chatter, he strikes me as a rat. He gave up the boss, and he's gone. I miss TJ Edwards. We've talked a lot this week, Ewing, about TJ Edwards, but not just TJ Edwards, but the linebackers and Howie's philosophy on linebackers. Do I miss TJ Edwards? Sure, maybe. I don't know, I guess. But what I miss is having a value, like a decent linebacker. Last year, TJ Edwards and Kazir White were a decent duo. This year, we've had a lot of moving parts, a lot of injuries. We've spent half the amount of money than we should have probably on the position. TJ Edwards and Kazir White signed for a combined $12 million this year. We spent $6 million total on all our linebackers. The linebacker play is showing that. Is Darius Slay going to cover Ceedee Lamb? Well, Adam, first and foremost, man, runny nose. First and foremost, Adam, is Darius Slay going to play? This week, Darius Slay popped up on the injury report Wednesday. He wasn't even at practice. Yesterday, he did not practice. They say it's a knee. Some say they're just resting him. Man, I'm concerned that Darius Slay hasn't practiced yet this week. I really am. And you need Darius Slay out there. Now, this is going to be, will he cover Ceedee Lamb or will they rotate? That is the big question of the day. Ceedee Lamb, last time we faced the Dallas Cowboys, and I had the box score up, and I don't know what I did with it. Let me go back and pull up the box score. Ceedee Lamb had a game against us when we played a month back. Sorry, wrong game. That's the game right there. Box score. Ceedee Lamb went off for 11 catches and 191 yards. He had 16 targets. He did not find the end zone, but he had almost 200 yards. Now, the Eagles' defense has been philosophy-wise. Slay stays on his side, Bradbury stays on his side, and the slot just gets eaten a lot. Ceedee Lamb did a lot of his damage the last game in the slot. And we obviously know we didn't have anybody play in the slot of any ilk. And at some point, they might have made some adjustments late in the game. Darius Slay, for as much crap as he gets, is having a solid year this year. He might not be all-pro elite Darius Slay, but he's still a very good cornerback. Darius Slay needs to be on Ceedee Lamb in the slot, on the right, on the left, wherever. If he's in the backfield, let Slay line up at linebacker. I don't care. Ceedee Lamb needs to be draped all over by Darius Slay all game long. You can't go out there with Braden Robbie and Eli Ricks and Kellen Ringo and Kevin Byard and Nicholas Morrow. We've seen linebackers cover wide receivers in the past. We can't have that this week against Dallas. We do that, he's going to put up 200 yards again. Let me tell you something. You kept him shut out of the end zone last time. You're not going to do it again if you play defense against him the way you did last game. That's exactly how Deebo Samuel torched us so much this past week. Because he lined up in the slot, and none of our top guys went to him. You had Nicholas Morrow getting burned by Deebo Samuel over the middle. Can't have that happen. Boss makes you travel. It must be nice to travel for work occasionally. Saw Napoleon. It was kind of trash. Wow. That's a shocking thing. I haven't seen many reviews on it. I haven't watched it yet. I'm going to see it. Just haven't gotten to it yet. In my opinion, I think the defensive scheme is the problem. And I've been trying to hit on this all week, that we give far too much crap to Brian Johnson's offensive scheme. And nobody criticizes Sean Desai's schemes. Sean Desai is as big of an issue, if not a bigger issue, than Brian Johnson, in my opinion. We've got a top 10 offense. We got a bottom 10 defense. But Sean Desai, because he makes halftime adjustments most games, is okay. I don't know how I feel about that. Last week was an emotional loss attributed to bad coaching and a lack of execution. This week, the boys going to feel the anger. Was this loss the loss that this team needed to wake up? And that final part of your statement, which was a question, I think it was. I think getting smacked, and that was, you said you missed the show yesterday. The title of the show yesterday was The Eagles Got Humbled. The NFL in Dallas should be scared. Most grown men, most people that have any self-pride or anything, you get humbled the way the Eagles got humbled last week, it's a major wake-up call. They didn't lose last week 42-41 on the last-second field goal, and darn, we almost had it. You got embarrassed. That's the word. Embarrassed. Straight up. They're pissed. They're angry. They're not happy. And I think Dallas should be scared of that. The Eagles have a lot. All the doubters are like, see, we've been telling you for 12 weeks, even though they were 10-1, that your team sucks. And then they just couldn't wait for us to fall. Well, now, again, the Eagles, for the 100th time, have to prove that they're a damn good football team. They're pissed. They're angry. They've been humbled. They've been smacked in the mouth. Sorry, my voice just cracked. I don't know where that came from. It's going to be interesting. The Eagles of movies. Let's go, birds. Dallas sucks. And Kyle, as I start off the show, I feel like we haven't talked about how much we hate Dallas enough this week. Like normally, Dallas week is I hate, like the whole week is centered around I hate Dallas. We're over 2 years into the morning show. We've done 5, probably 6 Dallas suck weeks in the history of this show. We barely talked Dallas this week. I don't remember the last time we played a 60-minute game. I don't know if we have this year, Adam. But this whole concept that we're still waiting to play a complete game where we haven't done our best yet. I kind of feel like this is not week 4 anymore, Adam. We're in week 14. We're not in week 3. We're not in week 2. We're in week 14. What you have seen through 13 weeks is what this team is. Better than everybody else, but still with flaws. Every team in the NFL has flaws this year. We have a few less than everybody else, but our flaws were exposed last week. So I think it's time to realize we are who we are this year. I told Phil you didn't squeal. I don't know. I think he's a rat. You would never fold under questioning. I would never fold under questioning at all. By the way, I like your show. Hey, Ewing, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. I'm humbled when everybody comes into the comments, whether they want to bash me or not. And I will say, I love it because this channel, I don't know what happened with the algorithm, but the amount of replay views that all the shows are getting, especially trending in the AM this week, is insane. 49ers and Cowboys fans in the comments of replays of the show. And I go back and I see 8, 10 replay comments this show of 49ers fans calling us trash. I love it. I love it. And I love to go right back at them. But I appreciate this show is all about the viewers, Ewing. Has nothing to do with me, in my opinion. I give you my opinion based off of your comments, but this is all about you guys. I want to talk other things. Whatever you want to talk about, that's what we talk about. I want to talk about John Rahm going to live and how much that disappointed me. But nobody else wants to talk about that. So we'll save that for a special Fairway to Heaven episode maybe this weekend. We paid the quarterback. That's why we were spending less on linebacker and safety positions. The secret sauce to San Francisco, they haven't paid the quarterback, so they have the money to pay the other positions. I get that, Duck, but I sort of disagree. We paid the quarterback. I'm no cap expert, but from everything I've read, the way Howie has structured the contract, Jalen Hurts is not a big effect on the salary cap, especially this year. And I think next year, I think it's like 25 or 26 the first time there's a big cap hit from the quarterback position. And by then, he'll probably just restructure Jalen to save money. I don't think that's the thing. The Eagles have not paid a linebacker or a safety big money. Probably the last, I don't even know what the contract was, but I'm assuming the last big money contract to a safety was Malcolm Jenkins, and that's been years. The last big money linebacker contract was before Doug Peterson, maybe Jeremiah Trotter. I don't know. I mean, we've been paying scraps at linebacker for a long time. They've paid plenty of money to defensive linemen, offensive linemen. They spent too much money on Slay and Bradbury, Avonte Maddox. They've spent money outside of wide or quarterback. They just haven't spent it on linebacker and safety. Their distribution of funds is heavier in some areas, just none going to those two positions. If Slay doesn't practice today, that's troubling. Yeah, I mean, I'm concerned that he hasn't practiced yet this week. I was more concerned that he wasn't even at practice. I think I read on Wednesday. Yesterday he was there. He was just not practicing. I don't know what's up. I'm hoping it's just a veteran getting rest because he's getting tired and he's going to need his legs to chase Ceedee Lamb all over the field on Sunday. But if he doesn't practice today, K1, I learned the most about during Thursday's practice. But in this situation, we'll learn the most about Darius Slay today. What's up, Nick? How you doing? Go Birds. That's right. Bleep the Cowboys is how we all feel today. Slay didn't travel with Lamb the first game. He did not. I think at the last drive or two, he might have started on some plays to follow him around. But K1, I really got to find a cornerback or a former cornerback or cornerbacks coach to find out why because you see this a lot not just with the Eagles, but the NFL as a whole, that cornerbacks don't travel. You would think the best cornerback would always follow the best wide receiver. In basketball, the best defender always defends the best offensive player. In all sports, you always travel. But with cornerbacks, it's just not the way it's done anymore. And I'm not sure why. Is there that much of a difference playing cornerback on the right side to the left side? I know you got to shift your hips a different way, but you would think it wouldn't be that hard. I don't know. I want to see Slay on Ceedee Lamb from play one. I just do. I really do. We're coming for you, Dak. Be afraid. Very afraid. I mean, we need to get after Dak. We need to rattle Dak. We've seen Dak get rattled plenty in his career. I want to see it. I need to see it. I need our defensive front to actually have one of those statement games that they had every week, it felt like last year. 7 sacks, hitting the quarterback left and right, safely, cleanly, legally. But I want to see Dak on his back a lot. Phil's voice is cracking. Puberty or emotion? Beard Bro hit the like. Yeah, if I crack my voice, you better hit that like button. 13 likes on YouTube through the first 25 minutes of the show. Not good enough. I don't know where the voice crack came from, honestly, Doug. No clue. What is up, Drew? Been a long time. How you doing? Good to see you this morning. Good to see John this morning. If we don't bring our A game, we are in trouble. Balanced offense, run and pass is key. So we spent a lot of time talking defense so far because of Ceedee Lamb. But yes, the offense needs to have a more balanced attack. And they've come under a lot of criticism, and all the coaches are taking the blame, and the head coach is taking the blame away from the coordinators, and coordinators are taking the blame away from the head coach and the players and whatnot. But I don't care. I don't care whose fault it is. Like, I don't want to hear the coaches make they didn't make excuses. I don't want to hear the coaches take blame. I want to hear the coaches say we're going to do better. We absolutely have to be more efficient on offense. We won the time of possession against the Cowboys last time we played 4 games ago. We need to dominate time of possession. We need to keep our defense off the field, not because the defense stinks or isn't as good as it used to be, but because our defense is still probably gassed. They were gassed entering last Sunday. They're still gassed. Maybe that's why Darius Slay's not practicing this week. He's just gassed. The dude's gassed. The defense is gassed. We need a balanced offense that moves the ball. We need those. Weeks ago, we had multiple 17 and 18 play drives. We need that. We need ball dominant drives to keep the defense off the field. Scott, what's up, my man? I can't wait to watch the Niners' 2 sons fight it out this week. 49ers' 2 sons fight it out this week? I don't even, maybe that's going over my head, Scott Broyles. I'm not sure. I'm missing something in that comment there. Matt, what's up, my man? If Slay isn't in for the game, would you think Bradbury should be Ceedee's shadow, considering he was shut down corner last game? James Bradbury's numbers, if you really look at them, when thrown his way, has trended upward the last 2 weeks or so. A lot of our exposure that we've gotten done or been done have been over the middle, which is safeties, slots, and linebacker. So yeah, I would love to see James Bradbury shout. Ceedee Lamb better have James Bradbury or Darius Slay or hell both on him every single play. There's no reason that one of those 2 guys aren't on him always. I mean, you look at the Cowboys team. You've got to stop offensively. Dak Prescott, obviously. Tony Pollard's having a good year, but he's not elite or anything like that. Do you think the Cowboys miss having Ezekiel Elliott guy? I don't know. But you got to stop Ceedee Lamb and Jake Ferguson. Brandon Cooks is cooked for the most part. Michael Gallup is nothing. Turpin, I mean, yeah, sure, whatever. You got to stop Ceedee Lamb and Jake Ferguson. That's it. You stop those 2 guys. How do you do it? You get one of your top cornerbacks on their top wide receiver, and you hope to God Shaq Leonard or Kevin Byard can stop Jake Ferguson. That's how you win this game. That is the only way you win this game. Rom should have bolted after getting screwed at the Memorial. Yeah, man. The whole John Rahm to live thing, K1, has really got my mind in a pickle, man. I ain't going to lie. I'm a huge John Rahm fan. My fantasy golf and betting golf philosophy is bet and play John Rahm. and the winner every week, and you're going to make a lot of money. And I've made a lot of money with that philosophy. Now I can't bet and play John Rahm anymore because I don't do live stuff. One of my favorite golfers wears he's like me. He wears his emotions on his sleeve. He never hides his emotion. But the fact that he clearly, blatantly said, I am perfectly happy. Money is not important to me. I love the PGA Tour. The PGA Tour, I owe everything to. And then, boom, gone. It's so frustrating. It really is, man. And I plan on me and Jason, my golf pot, we said once it became official too late last night to set up a last second show. At some point this weekend, we're going to do a show uh, on PSN and on We'd Heaven, just talking about John Rahm because it frustrates me, man. It really does. Davon says 27-10 Eagles, man. I love the confidence, Davon. I don't think the Eagles are going to win that handily. This is going to be a high scoring game. This is going to be a close game. I've got my 5 scores written down here. 3 have Eagles wins on them. 2 of them have Cowboys wins. I'll give it out at the end. I think I know which way I'm leaning, but you guys can convince me otherwise. Have I seen any update on the Ndamukong Suh rumors? No. Since, 2 days ago, came out that he will probably sign with a contender. I have no idea who it is. The Eagles are probably one of the favorites to do it. But he's going to be like Shaq Leonard. It'll be a Monday or a Tuesday signing next week, wherever he signs. At this point, it's too late in the week. So he will sign somewhere. Rumors are the Eagles are the lead, but we'll get there. We'll get there. We got a long comment on Facebook here from my man Ryan Swope. Let's see if we can get through this. Phil, it's every year. It's a linebacker problem. Edwards was good, but he was an undrafted guy that just had a good season. That's a fair point. They never have long-term plans and solutions at linebacker by drafting guys early. They don't value the position. It's always on drafted guys or special team guys. Basically, everything here is that Ryan wants more time and energy spent on linebackers from this team. But it's not their philosophy, and they've won a Super Bowl and made another in the last 7 years with this philosophy. So I get why they feel it's not necessary, but I think this year's showing that they need to pay attention, whether it's linebacker or safety. They need to pay attention to the middle of the defense a little bit more. I think we can all agree to that. Bayard will continue to haunt Dak. I hope so. I hope so. Cowgirls is getting Brandon Cooks involved more too. Don't sleep on him. I don't know if I would sleep on him or not. I'm just not as scared of him as I am of Ceedee Lamb. Ceedee Lamb is a game changer. Brandon Cooks is a guy that's taken a lot of hits. Particularly with the Slay and Lamb matchup. He is in the slot mostly. It is a different skill set in the slot. Drew, and I've heard people say that before, but why? I need to know the finer details on why playing in the slot is so much different than playing on the outside. Is it because there's more congestion when you're trying to backpedal? I don't know. The type of routes that are run, you got to tackle when you're in the slot too. And we know Slay and Bradbury don't like to tackle. I don't know. You would think that Darius Slay and how good he is would have no problem bouncing inside just to cover Darius Slay a little bit more often. The Eagles' biggest paid linebacker is Michael Hendricks, 4 years, $29 million from 15 to 18. Yeah, that was a long time ago. And that's not much money. That's what, like $7 a year? That was actually a lot of money back in 15 when he signed that, probably. From my understanding, slot is really difficult because they have a two-way go. No boundary to help. Need to support the run too. And I just kind of hinted at that. You need to be able to tackle too. Yeah, there's a little bit more you can. Yeah, you can't use the sideline for protection and stuff like that in the slot. So that makes sense. There's a lot to it. But Darius Slay is supposed to be an elite cornerback. You would think an elite cornerback could handle it. Bradbury was tried at the slot already. He can't do it. Yeah, Bradbury didn't have his best games when he was in the slot. That is for sure. No more Bradbury in the slot. I get it. But you got Ceedee Lamb. Well, and if you're not going to move Slay or Bradbury to the slot, then Howie's got to make sure you've got a slot corner that can cover because you know you're going to face CeeDee Lamb twice a year at a minimum. So you got to have it. And I know Avonte Maddox got hurt, but everybody knew Avonte Maddox was going to get hurt because he gets hurt every year. Now I know Zach McPherson got hurt as well. That's a wrench in the plans. Then you bring in Braden Robbie and he gets hurt right away. That didn't help. I don't know. Bradbury needs to play off coverage and on the boundaries. That's what it seems like, for sure. What's up, Matt? I think our offense really went stale with Goddard gone. We obviously didn't realize how much he opens up the field. It's funny, and I see a lot of comments. What's up, Mitchie Poo? How you doing? Good morning. Great show last night with Big Al. We'll catch up on the comments. I need 2 seconds here, guys. I gotta go through Twitter here, and I gotta find Mr. Crockpot Deebs from Edge of Philly. He put out an interesting tweet about this exact thing with some stats and some numbers to back it up, and I trust what he says. So I'm not fact checking him. Give me a second. He tweets a lot. Here it is. Got it. AJ Brown with Dallas Goedert. Like, we don't realize how big Dallas Goedert is because Dallas Goedert, our record with and without Dallas, without Dallas Goedert is not as bad as it should be. Like, we win majority of the games when Dallas Goedert's out. We were 5-0 last year without Dallas Goedert. Where Lane Johnson, when he's out, we never win. But even though we win without Dallas Goedert, our offense does change. And this stat here from Deebs over at Edge of Philly, A.J. Brown's numbers with Dallas Goedert versus without Dallas Goedert in the lineup. Games that A.J. Brown and Dallas Goedert both played in. A.J. Brown is an 84.8% reception percentage, 111.6 yards per game, and 15 yards per catch. A.J. Brown without Dallas Goedert in the game, 53.8% reception percentage, 53 yards per game, 10.7 yards per reception. They are drastically different numbers. Like, drastically different numbers. Dallas Goedert not being out there definitely plays a factor in this offense and how the flow goes, how the running game goes, how the passing game goes, how the blocking schemes go, how the defenses play us, where Jalen Hurts' eyes go. There's so much into it. And getting him back this week is going to be a major, major win for this Eagles offense. We got Mitchie Poo on there. We got Drew saying, what's up? Everybody loves Mitchie Poo in the comments. Are you a golfer, Phil? I do play a little golf when I can. I host a golf podcast from January to September called Fairway to Heaven, talking fantasy and gambling golf. And I love playing. I just don't get out as much as I want. I would love to play more, though. Dave, on Angry Birds isn't nothing to play with. Is Angry Birds still a game that people play? I don't know. But yeah, I get it. Don't piss the Eagles off. Motivated Eagles is not something you want as an opposing team. Did you hear Herm Edwards talk about how he thinks A.J. Brown should play the slot? He was on the radio yesterday. If not, you should go listen. It's on the Fanatic. Gotcha. A.J. Brown in the slot. I mean, he moves around. He doesn't line up on just one side. A.J. Brown against slot corners, man. He already feasts on outside guys. I don't care where A.J. Brown lines up. A.J. Brown dominates wherever he is. He's a beast. He's tough to cover. He's tough to bring down. I would love to see him run more slants over the middle and get the ball in open space and have to beat linebackers and safeties for sure. A.J. Brown's just a special specimen of a human being. This is going to be the first game in a while where weather is a non-factor. That's a fair point. I expect this D-line to eat this Sunday night, and I expect these wide receivers to join the buffet. Yeah, we've had a lot of weather issues for a few weeks now. Obviously, last week against San Fran, the Buffalo game, the Chiefs game, they were all weather-related games. Maybe even the last Dallas game was weather-related. We've had weather issues 3 or 4 last games, which is for sure. Slay can go in a slot, and it is mind-boggling that it took them so long to move Slay. As far as options go, he is the best option. He did what? Yeah, I agree. Darius Slay is the best option in the slot against CeeDee Lamb. That's not a knock on Braden Robbie. That's just CeeDee Lamb's a special individual. I know this week always brings up the conversation. Who would you rather as your wide receiver one? Ceedee Lamb or A.J. Brown? I mean, I see more A.J. Brown. So I'm going to say A.J. Brown. But Dallas can make the same argument that Ceedee Lamb's better than A.J. Brown. I just think A.J. Brown's more physical, stronger, and he's got more to his game than Ceedee Lamb. But that's because I see him every week. I see Ceedee Lamb twice a year. But they're both elite guys. They're both top 7 wide receivers in the NFL, without a doubt. I don't just want to see Ceedee sniff his finger much during the game. That stupid first down gesture he does. I love it. I love it. I don't love them. I love the comment, not him doing it. Just let me be clear. I don't love him doing it. Double up on Lamb Chop with Kevin Byard. Slay needs help. Phil, you and I have said Zach Ertz would help us. Eagles, I have not said that he would help us. I don't think Zach Ertz, it wouldn't hurt us, but it won't help us either. Like, Zach Ertz is an older guy. He would help more in the locker room and the side things than actually on the field much. But you got 33-27 Eagles win. I like that. It's a less than touchdown win you got there. And I see this being under 7 points. Whoever wins this game, it being under 7 points for sure. Robbie is a good option too. He can bracket Ceedee, and they have to deployed it a couple of times this year. Just no more linebackers. Yeah, honestly, if you put Robbie and Byard and just blanket them, that's fine. You want to leave Slay on the outside to keep Cooks from cooking. Yeah, I just don't want to see a linebacker. I don't want to see one of my linebackers in the stat sheet gave up 175 yards, 155 yak yards. I just can't see that. I mean, I don't want to see it. I can't see it. I'll gouge my eyes out if that's what I see. Peanut. Last week, the Niners basically dared Hurts to run the ball. Him being immobile was drastically affected the way this offense looks. We need a quarterback one to do what he does best in order to keep the defense shook. I actually thought when he did run last week, Peanut, he looked okay. I didn't think he was hobbling much. I don't think he was struggling to run the ball as much. It just wasn't part of the game plan, maybe. Maybe they were trying to protect him. Maybe he just wasn't feeling the pain. I didn't see the gimp. Sometimes you see after a run, short or long, you see a little gimp in his step. I just think that he was it wasn't the way the game flow was going. I don't think the Niners wanted him to hurt us with the legs, so they kept that, out of the game. I hope you weren't leaning towards you want to see Marcus Mariota start like David Carr, but that's another whole topic that we've covered far too much this week too. I need to protect the ball better. 3 fumbles versus Dallas the first game. Luckily, didn't lose anything. Yeah, I would have to go game by game to look, but I kind of feel like the team has cleaned up the turnover problem. I don't think we've had many fumbles the last few weeks. I think Hurts has gone 2 weeks without an interception, or 2 of the last 3 weeks without an interception, something like that. I think the cleaning up of the football has gotten there. What I would rather see, or what I need to see more of, is the defense of the Eagles create more turnovers. We definitely don't create many turnovers as a defense. Whether it's strip sacks, whether it's fumbles, whether it's interceptions, we just don't. I would like to. You could see Dak Prescott making mistakes. He can do that. He's done it before. We need to be aggressive on Dak, force him to make the mistakes. The Cowboys are a ball hawking defense. You're going to turn the ball over against the Cowboys. Every team does. They're aggressive on routes. They jump routes. I'd like to see some more double moves from our wide receivers, because you can beat them with those double moves if you can protect Hurts and give them time. But I want to see, more so than us protect the ball, I want to see our defense force them not to protect the ball a little bit more. That is a key to the game for sure. Hurts is definitely not running full speed. Yeah, he might not be running full speed, but there's a difference between running full speed or not, but it's the post-run limp. Like in weeks prior, he would run for a first down, then you see him like limping a little, not limping, but gimping back to the huddle. I didn't see that against San Francisco. I saw him on a straight jog back to the huddle after his run. But the speed's out there. The confidence is definitely not there when he does have the opportunity to run. If the defensive line can get to the quarterback, it will help our secondary. Adam, you're preaching to the choir. I've been shouting this from the pulpit for 14 weeks. We don't wrap up the quarterback. We don't force the quarterback to make mistakes. When we blitz the quarterback, we leave the whole middle of the defense open. Quarterback, if as long as he can evade the sack, he can step up into a clean pocket and have all the daylight in the world. When was the last time our defensive line batted a ball down? Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, they are mammoth human beings. Girth and height. If you're not going to get to the quarterback, put your arm up. It's defensive line 101. You can't make the tackle or sack, get your arm up. Jalen Hurts has balls batted all the time, and you see it. And I was watching a highlight of Jalen Carter the other day. I forget what it was. It had nothing to do the highlight with Jalen Carter. It was about it was something linebacker or cornerback related. But when they were replaying, it was probably Shane Half because I watch all 22 film breakdown, and he does a great job with it. Shane, if you're watching, cut the music. I don't need the background music. I know you ran a poll on it. No more background music in it. Go back to your voice or just the film. But whatever play he was breaking down, like all Jalen Carter had to do was put his hand up. Even if you don't block, you're blocking the quarterback's vision a little bit. Might make him put a little bit more arc on the ball. Overthrow it, underthrow it. Make him do a sidearm thing. Get your arms up. The Eagles lead the league in almost sacks. I would bet to you that they're one of the lowest teams in batted balls from defensive linemen. I don't even know the last time I saw somebody. The last batted ball I saw was the Jalen Carter field goal block a few weeks back. That's the last time I remember somebody tapping the ball at the line of scrimmage. Swift is going to have a big game Sunday. Remember the comment. I'll remember this comment. And I hope you're right. I do. I hope the lack of using DeAndre Swift lately is because they're saving him for this stretch run. This week and next week. I got DeAndre Swift in both of my best ball DraftKings lineups. I could use some big games from him. This is the last week to make the playoffs in best ball in the Millie Maker. And I should make the playoffs in both of my leagues. So yeah, I could use DeAndre Swift a big game. And I think so. I think the Eagles hear it. I think the Eagles know it. I just think the Eagles need to get their blocking under control. And I think they need to just get into the running game a little bit sooner. Ceedee fumbled that first game. Did he? Okay, gotcha. This going to be a Swift game since they didn't run it all last week. I hope so. Defense needs to definitely. Defense needs to be more opportunistic on defense. Or definitely need to be. So I didn't have, so it's definitely needs to be more opportunistic on defense. We do. We need to create more turnovers, bat balls down, just be more aggressive on defense. I don't care if you get burned. Be aggressive. Don't be soft. I really hope so. Yeah, I hope so too. We definitely need a couple turnovers to win this game. The pass rush can't get to Dak. He gets rattled easily. He does. Dude, we had 5 sacks on Dak last month. Yeah, I know. We still have sacks. This almost sack category is not because we don't have sacks. We're not on pace to 70, obviously. We've had a couple games with 5 sacks. But wasn't Dallas missing multiple offensive linemen in that game? I don't know what their injury report is right now. Facts, Phil. Our blitzers are not working. Our defensive numbers takes a significant dip when blitzing. I went over this yesterday, Drew. Shoot, I have too many notes. I went over the stats on blitzing yesterday. There it is. Brock Purdy, when we blitz, was 10 for 10, 213 yards, and 3 touchdowns. When we did not blitz, he was 9 for 17, 101 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 sacks, 2 throwaways. Blitzing isn't the answer. Almost sacks are a problem. Getting your hands up in the lanes when you're not getting home. I think I'm going to move off of the almost sacks and start talking the rest of the year about batted balls and putting your arms up in his face to block his vision. We just need to refine some of the basic techniques on what we do. Because blitzing itself isn't going to work. Because when you blitz 6 guys, you're already weak at linebacker. You're already weak at safety. You're putting more pressure on the back end of the defense. That's our weakest part of our defense. All right, K1, I'm going to move off of the almost sack title and just talk about batted balls now. Because, everybody wants to talk more about balls anyway. They have to be careful when they pass towards Bland's way he will jump routes and get the pick. Yeah, Bland's will get burnt, but then we also saw Bland's, was it Thanksgiving at him? That he just got straight dominated in because he got burned trying to jump routes. So double moves. Go back and watch that Thanksgiving game. I think it was the Thanksgiving game. He just got eaten alive. Maybe it wasn't the Thanksgiving game because they won that game. I forget when it was. But he got eaten alive on double moves. Gave up multiple touchdowns because he jumps the route. That's easy. So I wonder if they're working on that. I wonder. We don't see a lot of double moves from this team. See a lot of stutter steps, but whatnot. But you don't see a lot of pump fakes from Jalen Hurts. I wonder. I wonder if that's something they're working on this week. I wonder if that's something we're going to see in the game plan this week. So to be better, our defense, we should start looking ahead. Do you believe the Eagles go with a legacy pick in the draft and bring in Jeremiah Trotter Jr.? So 2 things to answer this question, Mighty. I'm going to call you Mighty Mac. If you know, you know. First and foremost, I don't know a lot about college football. I don't study the draft picks and the draft pick till like a week or 2 before. I don't watch a lot of college football. I hear the rumors that he's really good, blah, blah, blah. But I also hear rumors that he would be like a 3rd-round pick for us. So if he's not, if he's a 3rd-round pick, is he really the answer? The Eagles are not going to draft a linebacker in the 1st round. They're just not. So I don't know. I don't know if he's good enough or not. A. B. I don't think that they would draft one higher than they drafted Nakobe Dean. And 3, Mighty Mac, I don't talk about the offseason until the offseason begins. That's a very firm rule of mine. We might dance around a couple topics about contract extensions and stuff like that, but I'll worry about building next year's team after this season's over. Right now, Jeremiah Trotter Jr. ain't going to help us this year. So right now, we should be talking about what the defensive scheme needs to be changed to mask our weakness at linebacker right now. And I said it briefly the other day that, there's going to be a lot of pressure for Shaq Leonard to succeed instantly. First game, right in it, being thrown to the fire. But we need him to. We need to throw him to the fire because we don't have any other option at this point. If you can make Dak uncomfortable, make off-platform throws, he will do dumb stuff. You do that by getting pressure on him. And if you can't wrap him up, get your hands up. We've seen him get balls batted for interceptions plenty of times in the past. Dak will make mistakes. You got it. I mean, I don't think anybody that's watched any football for any team doesn't realize that Dak makes mistakes. But you still got to execute on defense to make him. If you let him be comfortable in the pocket, there's a reason why Dak in the past has been considered an MVP candidate. Not this year per se. Well, maybe he is this year. I don't know. But there was one year before Dak got hurt one season that he was putting up 400 yards a game. He's comfortable. He's going to throw the ball. There's no doubt he can sling it. But you gotta get pressure on him. You got to get your hands up. You got to hit him a little bit, knock him down a little bit, rattle the cages, rattle the brain cells a little bit. Bland's can't cover the 50-50 ball. That was seen with him against, that was the Seattle game with DK Metcalf. Was it DK Metcalf that went up for like 6,000 yards in one game? What is more scarier than an angry Kelsey, a pissed off Jalen Hurts, a mad Jalen Carter? I mean, there's a lot of guys on this Eagles team you don't want to piss off. Not just because they're going to be remotivated, because they're nasty dudes. Yeah. I get it. Keep Dak contained with their rush lanes because Dak has escaped a bit last game. Yeah, I mean, Dak escaped and almost converted a 2-point conversion to win the football game, but he stepped out of bounds. He didn't execute well enough. But yeah, that's the thing. We get these almost sacks. And again, I'm trying to get off of the phrase almost sacks. And we get these almost sacks, but when we do it, it just opens up all this room for them to just, whoever it is, Brock Purdy, Dak Prescott, I mean, how many times did Josh Allen escape pressure? I mean, Josh Allen, I think, led the game in rushing yards against Buffalo a few weeks back because we wouldn't finish the sack or the pressure. We didn't keep him contained. Plenty of room to run wild. I played against Trotter Jr. in high school. Really humble guy. He has greatness ahead of him. Well, hey, that's pretty damn cool that you played against a Trotter. That tells me that Trotter Senior might have been at some of those games. Maybe that would be cool. Maybe that was too far. Maybe no, he would have been. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I just don't know. It's not like I've watched Trotter games. I've seen a few clips on Twitter that people have shared, but I haven't seen him physically play a game. So I don't know. Matt, I think Shaq just needs to worry about the box and nothing else. Defense doesn't seem to communicate when it comes to releasing a wide receiver from the corner position to safety. So that seems why the wide receivers are getting open. And communication, Matt. Talked about communication since training camp. That communication was going to be an issue this year. And it still is. 14 weeks into the season, it's still being talked about. And it's why I firmly believe that Sean Desai needs to face more criticism. You would think he'd have all these kinks worked out. Brian Johnson, we have to always argue, is Brian Johnson to blame or Nick Sirianni, this and that? This is all Sean Desai. Sean Desai doesn't have the head coach, Lumen, telling him what to do on defense. This is Sean Desai, go do your thing. It was the same thing last year with Jonathan Gannon. It was a cumulative effort between Steichen and Nick Sirianni, but it was Jonathan Gannon's game. Sean Desai needs to face more criticism for the lack of communication, the fact that the communication issues are still a thing. Mad Jalen Carter. I mean, he is such a humble guy. Like when you listen to him talk about watching film and how much work he puts in. But man, I'm walking down the street, man, and I see Jalen Carter coming my way. I'm crossing the street. Or I'm carrying the bags for him. You know, if I saw what's the scene from Goodfellas? You know, when Henry Hill says, "Kids carried my mom's bags home out of respect." If I saw Jalen Carter's mom walking down the street, I'd carry his mom's bags just because of respect to Jalen Carter and fear of Jalen Carter. He's a scary man. The Marcus Hayes wrote an article, and I hate to crush on people, but man, his title was hard. His headline of his article was Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter hit the rookie wall last week. First of all, Jordan Davis isn't a rookie, Marcus. Second of all, the entire defense hit a wall because they played 95 snaps the week before in an overtime game against Buffalo and then faced a 49ers team coming on or an extended break. It was an awful I wouldn't even click on the article to read it. It was just an awful headline. Awful headline. And that segues into Dallas is coming off a 10-day break too. It is a cool story from Jason Williams there. Yeah, it just depends. Like if he's so great and everybody says we should be drafting him, like why do I see a lot of mocks having him going in like the range of like 70 to 80th pick of the draft? You know, early middle of the third round. Like I don't get that. Flip Dak in the air again, make another meme. Yeah, that would be nice. Shaq Leonard is from South Carolina. My grandparents are from South Carolina. That state breeds some tough son of guns. Sure. I hope Shaq's tough. I hope he's ready. Eagles fans need him to be ready. The Eagles defense needs him to be ready, without a doubt. I went to Northeast High School. We lost to St. Joe's Prep every year in the city championship. Marvis Harrison did us bad too. Man, I wish, I went to a small, tiny high school, Devon Prep out on the main line. We didn't have a football team. They still don't. But when I went there, Devon was so small. We had soccer basically in the fall. We had a few sports. We had basketball, obviously, and baseball, and that was it. And we were bad back in the '90s at Devon in all sports. Since then, Devon's become a pretty darn good baseball program, and I think they've added lacrosse. Maybe I know they added a golf team, um, but we were definitely not a sports juggernaut back then. So it would have been cool to go to one of those big schools that had a big football program for sure. I played against Kareem McKenzie in high school. He was the only offensive lineman I couldn't destroy in high school. Well, I'll say my claim to fame was in college. I went to Drexel in Philly my freshman year. Ended up transferring out, didn't like it there. That's another whole subject. But I got to play a pickup game of basketball at Drexel in their gym and play defense against Malik Rose, future NBA first round draft pick. Malik Rose, future, I think he had like a 15-year career in the NBA. Malik Rose. And when we were playing a pickup game, he was in the game. It was after he had already finished playing his Drexel career. I think he was just finishing up his senior year. It was right before he went into the draft. And I went and tried to D him up. And he's a monster, and I'm 6'2", 220. And he looked at me like, "You really going to try to play defense?" And I'm like, "Sure, why not?" He's like, "You hurt me and cost me any money, you're in trouble." I'm like, "Okay, won't hurt you." And he dominated me, obviously. Humbled me massively in a way that I didn't even try to get better. Jalen Carter's mailman got his head shoved into Phil's pizza oven. I love that. I love that. All right, real quick. You're watching Trending in the AM right here on Philadelphia Sports Network. We're live on Facebook and YouTube, and it would greatly mean a great deal to me if you hit that like button, that share button, that follow, subscribe button, wherever you're watching. We have 16 likes on YouTube. We got 5 on Facebook right now. Likes and shares and subscribes and clicks and anything, comments, all that stuff. Everything you click, it helps the algorithm. It helps the show grow. Had a monster week this week on views and growth this week, and I greatly appreciate it. I can't do it without you guys doing that, so help me out there. Um, Back to the comments, though. I'm curious on the effect of missing Denard Wilson. There's definitely some issue, scheme, or situationally there. Um, some technique issue in the back end. Yes, hard reset. Even had him getting in on the hard reset comments. I got it. I was a minute late. Good morning, Eric. My main Phil and the incomparable Core 12. That's right. Just in time for the hard read. Yeah, he comes in right at the moment there. He knows he's coming in for the final 30. I'll just set this right here then. Yeah, exactly. Every day. I make $500 a day thanks to Eric. Eric donates $500 a day to me. I wish. Um, Eric's going to hit the Powerball one day and then actually do a $500 super chat for me. Real quick, before we get back to this Eagles game and how I feel, we do it every single week on the show on Friday. I run down the entire slate of games and just make some quick random predictions. Just give quick thoughts. I don't even know. I haven't even looked at what the games are this week. So let me go quick to ESPN.com here. First 1:00 game, Buccaneers at Falcons. Falcons are 2.5-point favorites. Both teams are still in it. Both teams could win their division still. I'm going to go Falcons at home, minus 2.5. Next 1:00 game, we got the Lions going to the Bears. Lions are only 3-point favorites. That's a trap right there, man. That's such a trap. But I can't say the Lions. I can't say the Lions are going to lose that game, so I got to go Lions. Will beat the Bears. Colts at Bengals. Bengals are 2-point favorites over the Colts, despite is Joe Burrow not playing still? I would think. I'm going to go Colts win this game, +2. But if Joe Burrow's playing, I don't hold that against me. Jaguars at Browns. Browns are 3-point favorites. Two teams still fight. Man, I'm going to go Jags win that too over the Browns, +2. Man, I don't know. The Browns bubble. The Browns defense is great, but that offense is terrible. Yeah, I got the Jaguars there for sure. Panthers at the Saints. Saints are 5-point favorites. I don't know who's playing quarterback, but it's got to be the Saints win that game, and probably pretty handily. They're still fighting for the division. NFC South, worst football division there is right now. Yeah. Texans at Jets. Back to the Zach Wilson era, 3.5-point favorites. I'm going to take the Jets to cover +3.5. I don't know if they win or not, but Zach Wilson's got something to prove. I'm going to hope I'm going to hope that, the Jets upset the Texans there. Patriots and Steelers game last night was hilarious. I actually made the easiest bet I've ever made on this game last night, Davon. Before the game, I went and I made a bet, and I posted about it on Twitter. So if you follow me on Twitter, you would have heard this. I made a parlay last night. It was like plus 150. I forget the exact number. $5 turned into 14 approximately. Or for every $5 was $14. I made a parlay that both Bailey Zappi and Mitchell Trubisky would both throw one interception. And I got about 1.5, two, almost 2-1 on my money. Easiest bet I've ever made. And it hit. Adam says the Colts are winning. I agree. Burrow's on IR, so then I definitely can't pick the Bengals. Gardner Minshew, man, he's winning games right now with Indy. He is. I think Niners beat us down should wake us up to focus on detail moving forward. If we lose by double digits again, it's safe to say our year is over. Our year is not over if we lose by double digits. But then we definitely start to have to have a conversation. One loss doesn't define a season. Back-to-back losses, bad. Sure, that starts the conversation. But win or lose, how we win or lose matters. And we'll see. But our season would not be over per se. It would just be very difficult moving forward. All right, so back to these games on the slate. What was the last one? I said the Jets. So then we got the Rams going to the Ravens. Ravens are 7.5-point favorites against a very game Rams team. I'm going to take the Rams and the points plus 7.5. But I think the Ravens win the game. It'll just be closer. All right, so that's the 1 o'clock games. We'll get back to the 4 o'clock games in a second here. I think the Niners. Oh, I already put that one up there. John, that was a comedy of errors. Yes, it was funny. It was all right. Low key crazy that we struggle in the red zone sometimes. Run the ball and use the quarterback sneak. Every first down is a 1st and 8 for the Eagles. Basically, yeah. And that brings up another thing. We talked about it earlier in the week. We haven't talked about it today. Another huge key to victory against the Cowboys. Can we please get off the field as a defense on 3rd down? We are the worst 3rd down team defensively in the league. We need to get off the field. Joe Burrow is out for the year. I thought so. I wasn't positive. I didn't want to say it. Because if I said Joe Burrow's out for the year, then he wasn't. You guys would say, oh, you're wrong. I say, I don't know, and I'm still wrong. Either way. If we lose by double digits, we'd be 10-3. Exactly. Still tied for the best record in the NFL, most likely. If you're catching your Nate Trees YouTube on last night's game, you'll laugh your arse off. Yeah, I did not. So sorry. So season's over. Yeah, 10-3 means the season's over. For sure. All right, 4 o'clock games this week. First 4 o'clock game. We got the Vikings traveling to Vegas, baby, to face the Las Vegas Raiders, who are surprisingly 5-7 somehow. I'm not sure how. The Josh Dobbs bubble may have burst. I'm going to take the Raiders plus 3. I think they win this game, actually, and get to 6-7. It doesn't mean anything for them, but I think it does. I think that's how it goes. Then we got the Seahawks going to San Fran. San Francisco is an 11-point favorite. Are you kidding me? That is an easy Seattle plus 11 right there. I don't know if they win or not. I think the 49ers can have a letdown. I really, truly do. They had the Eagles game circled. They were so focused on it. They probably partied it up, popping champagne because they won the Super Bowl last Sunday at 4 o'clock. I think the 49ers have a letdown. Seattle plus 11 is an easy bet, in my opinion. Seattle's a good team, not great. Division rival. They kept it close against San Fran earlier in the year. Seattle might win that game. I'm not saying they'll win that, but they are without a doubt covering that 11 points. That is my easiest pick, right, of the week. Adam, I agree with you. There's a very, very strong chance that Seattle wins on Sunday. I'm always open for those letdown games. Bills at Chiefs. Chiefs are 1-point favorites. Chiefs aren't playing great ball. The Bills have been average. I'm going to take the Chiefs -1. But that's a game that I might tease that line up. I think Kansas City needs to make a point in Kansas City. 4:25 CBS game of the week. I think the Chiefs win by double digits against the Bills. I do. I really, really, truly do. Then you got the final 4 o'clock game, Broncos at Chargers. Chargers are 2.5-point favorites. Another tough division game. The line's small, which I like. Ah, man, that's a tough one. I don't buy the Chargers, but I don't buy the Broncos either. Can I call it a tie? I don't know. Since it's only 2.5 points, I'll take the Chargers in the 2.5 points. But I'm not comfortable picking that, and I will not bet that Chargers Broncos game at all. I got my tinfoil hat on. Steelers lose could symbolize a Ravens loss. I'm just saying they do. I could see the entire AFC North losing this week. Steelers already lost. There's a lot of games that they could lose this week. The Browns are going to lose. The Bengals are going to lose. The Ravens game, they might not cover, but they might lose. I don't know. Man, crazy, crazy. What if Sirianni's purposely making Brian Johnson call bad plays so their teams don't take all the... I mean, mister, I know you're being sarcastic there. But it wouldn't shock me if someone would actually believe that you said this and said it was a fact. Man, it's not happening. It's not it. But, man, that's a hilarious theory right there. Adam says the Bills are upsetting the Chiefs this week. I say the Chiefs win by double digits, but I can also see the Bills winning that game. They need to make a statement, the Chiefs, but the Bills do too, I guess. I guess the Bills are still in it for the division and the wild card. That's the thing with this week. There's literally, last week the games were all dog trash. There's a lot of good matchups with a lot of playoff implications on the line this week. The 1 seat's on the line with Eagles-Dallas. Or the potential for the 1 seat on the line, Eagles-Dallas. It's a tough week of games. That is some tinfoil hat take, mister. Yeah, that is. It's hilarious. It really was. Broncos could still win that division. It is kind of funny. I think all teams are still in play at that division. It really is. Excuse me for a second. Oh, man. I had it muted that time. That's how bad that one was. Missed it. I don't think so. I don't think Nick has a choice either. Howie and Laurie are the ones who, on Doug for winning games, not following orders. Or look, Brian Johnson's going to get a head coaching job this year or next year, or this offseason or next offseason. There's no doubt about it. I don't think we got to worry about Sean Desai, though. I don't think Sean Desai is going to be on many people's candidate list this year. Maybe in the future, but not this year. Again, guys, I'm telling you, I don't think Brian Johnson has been as bad as people think he has. Do we want to see him run the ball more? Sure. Is giving Swift the ball more often and more frequently earlier in games? Sure, we all want to see it. But we're still a top 10 offense. We're still 10-2. Sean Desai's defense, we're 10-2 with like last year, we all crushed Jonathan Gannon regularly. And rightfully so, to an extent. But we had a top 10 defense last year. We have a top. We don't even have a top 20 defense this year, and everybody gives Sean Desai this pass because he makes halftime adjustments. Guys, he has to be so bad in the first half to make those adjustments in the second half. I'm not sure why Sean Desai does not get criticized enough. He's gotten criticized this week a little bit because of how bad we looked against the 49ers. But he's been bad all year. I put so much that this season is not as aesthetically pleasing as last year, not because of Brian Johnson, because of Sean Desai. I'm telling you, more people got to see that Sean Desai think about it. When he was the defensive coordinator in 2021 for the Bears, that Bears team was a train wreck all around. But that defense was not good. It was bad. And I think, what's his name? Roquan Quinn, whatever his name is that we had last year, had like 18 sacks that year. And they still were awful. I am always going to be more concerned this year with our defense than our offense. Without a doubt. Brian Johnson's gone. I've already convinced myself, whether it's this offseason or next season, we get 1 or 2 years of Brian Johnson. Brian Johnson was on the back end of the list last year before he was even an offensive coordinator. I don't know if he got any interviews last year, but he was definitely talked about last year. And that is why they promoted him to offensive coordinator, because he would have gotten it somewhere else. I'm I'm fine with Brian Johnson moving on because I know he's going to. I've come to understand that. As crazy as this world's been the past few years, that's a conversation conservative take. Yeah, no. You're right, Phil. A little hard on Brian Johnson. It isn't that simple. I think Brian Johnson has done a damn good job. Let's look at it another way. Brian Johnson gets criticized a lot for this offense. We do realize 4 of the last 5 weeks we have faced top 10 defenses. 3 of the last 5 weeks we've faced top 5 defenses. Somewhere back here in the notes, I forget. Whenever I did this, I take way too many notes, man. I don't even know where it is. There it is. When we faced Dallas, Dallas was at the time the 3rd best defense in football. We have faced some elite defenses, and we were still winning games. We were still putting up points. We were still moving the ball. Maybe not the way we want to see it. Maybe not effective all game long. But, man, let's give credit where credit's due. Brian Johnson right now has been a better offensive coordinator than Sean Desai has been defensive coordinator. And people don't believe it. People don't understand it. People don't see it. The only things the hiring teams are going to be looking at is BJ's. They're going to be looking at BJ's. That's kind of dirty. And Eagles' record and how the offensive numbers resemble last year. They're going to look at Brian Johnson because of what he did with Jalen Hurts from 2021 to 2022 as a quarterback coach. A team like I don't know if he's going to Carolina. I don't know if he'd want to go to Carolina. It's a terrible location, terrible situation and organization. No first-round picks this year or second-round picks even. But a team like Carolina that has a young quarterback in Bryce Young that wants to see him go to the next level. Name any team that's got a young quarterback or a team that's going to draft the quarterback this year. Hell, Bill Belichick might be gone. They're going to draft the quarterback possibly. Wherever, what's his name from USC goes, they might want to hire Brian Johnson as their head coach because they're going to see what Brian Johnson did with Jalen Hurts. And they're going to see an offense. They're going to see deeper than what us Eagles fans see with the offense. The side's been bad with game planning, but some of it falls on the players too. And I get that, for sure. No doubt about it. Taking too long to move Slay around, leaving the middle of the field open, blitzing at wrong times, wrong design blitz. There's planning, and there's also players too, for sure. There have been a lot of injuries on defense, for sure. But people put Sean Desai so much higher on the pecking order or the podium than Brian Johnson. And I think it should be reversed. I'm not trying to say that Sean Desai is a bad defensive coordinator. I'm just saying that Sean Desai deserves more criticism than he gets. Say what you will or want. Desai's defense held the Chiefs to double goose eggs in the second half. He's held multiple teams to double goose eggs in the second half. And he made consensual love to the Dolphins offense. He got some signature wins. He did. But also the offense played a part in those games as well. Desai's made great halftime adjustments. The problem is, Eric, is that he's had to make those halftime adjustments because his game plan going into it was so bad. And I don't understand why people don't understand that. You got to be really bad in the first half to make drastic changes in the second half. Phil, wouldn't you bring in Frank Reich now? So if Brian Johnson leaves, Frank could take over the offense coordinator. No, I wouldn't bring him in now. If it was week 2, sure. I wanted someone like Frank Reich before the season started as a consultant or an assistant. Yes. But now we are in week 14. Someone like Frank Reich would just be like a distraction, would just be like, how do I say it the right way? I've kind of talked about it before when he got fired a few weeks back. Everyone's complaining about Brian Johnson's play calling. So all the talk every day would be, well, you got Frank Reich there. It would be a distraction. It would cause extra pressure and stress on what Brian Johnson. He would second guess everything he does, possibly. I would say no now. Frank Reich, if he wants to coach again, will get an offensive coordinator job next offseason. I doubt he's a head coach next year. Frank Reich might even kind of need the rest of the year off, just give him a break. It wouldn't hurt him to have a little bit of a break. Yeah, I would wait. There'll be plenty of options for offensive coordinator next year. So, and if we're to believe what Nick Sirianni says, that Brian Johnson's really just running his plays, is Frank Reich really going to just run Nick Sirianni's plays? Now, Frank Reich's a proud, prideful, offensive-minded coach. He's going to want to design the offense each week his way. And Nick Sirianni probably more wants to do it himself. Sean Desai is, I don't know, man. How is Bradbury saying stuff like we have communication issues in week 13? Exactly. Why aren't more people talking about this, mister? Like, I've talked about it since day one of camp. Communication with new coordinators. We don't hear communication issues about the offense. We don't like the play calling sometimes. We don't like the execution sometimes. But on defense, still having communication issues in week 14? That's shocking. Even if Sean Desai does not become a head coach this offseason, which I doubt he does, you have to seriously consider moving on from Sean Desai. They wouldn't. They would keep him. But, man, I'm not trying to say Jonathan Gannon is better than Sean Desai as a defensive coordinator. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying they're a lot closer than people realize. Just saying. Neither Brian Johnson nor Desai have had the same players week to week for the most part, especially Desai, so I cut them both some slack. And I get that. Injuries play a part. And if anything, you got to blame Howie a little bit for not having proper backups, in these positions that have gotten injured or bringing in far too many injury-prone players. Let's look at it. The guys that have gotten injured this year, almost all of them have massive injury history. Dallas Goedert, Devontae Maddox, Zach Cunningham, these Justin Evans. These guys are guys that get hurt all the time for years on end. So maybe something's on Howie Roseman too. So I'm cutting them slack. And I'm not trying to bash Sean Desai. I'm just trying to say that Brian Johnson has had a better season than Sean Desai as a coordinator, and nobody realizes it. Right now, Sean Desai is a C+ high mid, C+. Hopefully he can do something moving forward. Yeah, I think Sean Desai, a C+ grade, is very fair. I do. But I would also put Brian Johnson somewhere in the B range. Neither of them would get an A. I wouldn't put Brian Johnson in a C+. I'd put him B, B-, B+, B+, somewhere in that range, which is not great, which is not perfect. I'm just saying. I agree with the C+ grade on Sean Desai. I'm Team K1 with the slack cutting. Again, I'm fine with slack cutting. I've cut slack too. But how about we cut some slack to Brian Johnson? Maybe even more slack to Brian Johnson. Philly isn't a slack-cutting fan base, though. We're not. And I get that. We want the best week in and week out. We live and die by each minute of every game and inning and quarter of basketball and every shift in hockey. Like, we live and die with that. We're an emotional, overreactionary, instant reactionary fan base. But if we're going to cut Sean Desai slack, why don't we cut any for Brian Johnson? I'm one of the rare sensible Philly fans. I only go postal when I dumb decisions like what Chip Kelly did, yeah. And Maury's blind love affair with Shad Harden, yeah. I'm like that too. I like to be a very realist, not like Marshawn says. Marshawn likes to call me Negatron. No, I'm a realist. It's crazy that we could actually be the 5th seed after Sunday's game. It is. It really is, Marshawn. That's why it's such an important game. So important. We've got to win on Sunday. We really do. I mean, we can fall to the 5th seed and still get the 1 seed if we win out the final 4 weeks. But then we wouldn't control our own destiny anymore. Going postal equals great content. I hate that kind of stuff, though. You never see me go postal. You don't. All right, I got to fire through these final comments before the final 5 minutes starts here so I can give my final prediction. Desai always had average to below average defense at all his stops. Well, this is only his second year. He only had one other stop, 1 year in Chicago. All his other stops were as positional coaches, assistant coordinator positions. He was never a defensive coordinator other than 2021 with Chicago, if I'm accurate. I think I'm accurate on that. I just want to know you can slice garlic with a single edge razor at Louisville. Yeah, I love it. I have tried that. I don't have my hands shake too much. I can't do it, K1. Is Desai an upgrade from Gannon and Jim Schwartz? I'm just going to say this. This is what K1 says is going postal equals great content. This is a hot take that Sean Desai is not an upgrade from Jonathan Gannon and Jim Schwartz. He's not. Maybe he's on par, but he is not an upgrade. Yeah, I probably would have went viral if someone recorded my reaction to DJX getting cut. Yeah. Man, I wish I was doing content back then. I was like Michael Douglas in Falling Down. Ain't no cutting slack. We trying to win a Super Bowl. Exactly. We won a Super Bowl. Good morning, Zeke. How you doing? Let's go. Can't wait. Redeem ourselves. No doubt. Most analysts are calling us frauds. Hungry dogs, man. Robbie's contribution so far is a forced fumble. He was beat bad, hard, and yeah, absolutely. That drop in Arrowhead, yeah. Desai versus Billy Davis, yeah. All right, we're caught up on comments. So I've thought long and hard about how I was going to predict this Eagles game. Hold on. What's crazy is the more focus on the possibility of losing instead of the hype for us possible sweep. That's such a fair comment too. We're so focused on the negativity instead of the positivity. Thought long and hard about this, okay? And I did write 5 instead of 4 scores down because I'm teetering on whether this is a win or not. We are the underdogs, and rightfully so. Bookies know what they're doing. I wrote down 5 scores. The 2 Dallas winning scores I had were Dallas winning 38-31 or 31-27. That's how I'm picking an Eagles win. Don't worry. I just want to throw that out there. But it just proves that I have very close. The other scores I got 27-24. I got 35-31, both Eagles wins. I also have a 41-31 Eagles blowout, 10-point blowout. I don't see that being the case. I am going to settle it all week long. I wrote this score. This score I wrote down literally day 1 this week on Monday. And my eyes have kept going back to this score nonstop this week as the answer. I see a hard-fought game. No team ever going up more than 7 points. Back and forth. This is not a game where someone's going to score 14 points in the fourth quarter to make it look close. It's going to be a back-and-forth game just like last week, or last Dallas game. I got the Eagles winning 35-31 on Sunday. Okay? Maybe it takes a last-second field goal from Jake Elliott to boost it up or some kind of special play on defense. Somebody on defense is going to have to step up. For 35-31 to happen, we need to run the ball more, sure. We need to force Dak into mistakes, sure. We need to do this. We need to do that. Everything we've talked about today and all week, we need to do. Everything we did bad against the 49ers, we've got to do better. But for this to happen, there is going to have to be a big turnover at some point in the game that kind of pulls some of the momentum or some of the energy out of the Cowboys, that gets the Cowboys to doubt themselves. 35-31. And it's going to come because Darius Slay, big play Slay, is going to be the one that makes that big play at the big moment. Darius Slay loves that big play Slay nickname and moniker. Don't call me Darius Slay. That's how I see it happening. And you let Jennifer Slay know. I'm calling it. Mrs. Slay, your boy, big play. Is going to make the big play this week against Dallas. And that is how we're going to win 35-31. We are going to see a hard-fought, stressful, can't go to bed early. That is how this game's going to play out. Welcome to Philadelphia. That was from before. Yeah, I got that. The Eagles know what's on the line. That's a key part right there. I think the entire team will be fired up, back to bully mode. Time for the O-line to remind the league who's top dog. All that could be true, but Dallas is still a really good team. So even if we play a perfect game, Dallas is still going to be in this the whole game. All I know, this team needs this win on Sunday. I don't care how, what, just get the win. I get that. 32-28 from Adam. I like that too. That's fair. K1 loves my prediction. I like that. I'm glad you love my prediction. Makes me happy on the inside. I see Carter diving through the center lanes and getting a sack on Dak and giving him Eagles PSD. It could be. Go Birds. I hope so. Agreed. It will go to the wire for sure. Someone's going to have the ball with 2 minutes left in this game with a chance to win it, whether it's the Eagles or the Cowboys. In my mind, there is no doubt that it goes down to the wire Last team to hold the ball wins this game, whether it's for a winning score or to run the clock out. The last team to hold the ball wins this game. And I think that's going to be the Eagles winning. We got John saying 33-27. That's right there with one of what my mind is going. 29-25. A little lower scoring, but I like that too. I had 27-24. I almost picked 27-24, Myram. But 29-25. 29 is a weird number. I don't know how they get to 29, but it could be. I know we are excited because AJ said you'll see Sunday, but Hassan also said line that shit up, and we got our asses. Absolutely. And I think you brought that to the conversation earlier this week as well. But anyway, I got 35-31. Eagles win this game. Y'all have a great day. Another fantastic week on Training the AM. I mean, no super chats, but viewership, likes, comments, all-time high this week. I mean, I don't know where today's show will end, but we're for the first 4 days this week, we did more than we normally do in a full 5-day week. So I thank each and every one of you. I appreciate each and every one of you. Are there any score gammas left? I don't know. There are, but I don't know what they are. Man, your memory is nuts. 31-26. I can see that. Phil, have a great weekend. Hey, you all have a great weekend as well. I love you all. 44-6, Marshawn. You're nuts. You're nuts, Marshawn, thinking of 44-6. Insanity. That's the bold take. Great week. We are trending upwards. Go Birds. The Eagles are going to trend upwards this week. Trending in the AM, trending upwards. We are only like 3 weeks left of the year. Man. I'm loco, essay. Yeah. Zeke saying 30-21. I can see it. I did put one, maybe 41-31 down. Gotta go. Get the papers. Yeah. Gotcha. I got you. Anyway, wrapping this up, guys. Trending in the AM right here on Philadelphia Sports Network. 21 likes on YouTube, 6 on Facebook. Pound that like button, that share button, that subscribe button. Turn the notifications on. We'll be back live Monday morning, hopefully with a victory Monday show. And if not, there might be some hard conversation to be had, but I am confident that we are going to be having a victory Monday show on Monday. Go Birds. Beat Dallas. Let's go. We'll see you tomorrow or Monday, guys. Go Birds.